Welcome back, MTG Burgeoning community and YouTube viewing audience. If you are part of the latter and wish to join the former, click that subscribe button now. And in so doing, you become eligible for all kinds of wonderful channel reward series. In today's Top 10s Day Wednesday video, we are taking a look at the top 10 most played EDH commander cards from Eldritch Moon. What's up, MTG Burgeoning fans? Welcome back here to another Top 10s Day Wednesday video. And in today's video, we are going back to Eldritch Moon to take a look at the most played EDH commander cards from that wonderful set that takes place right after Shadows over Innistrad. As is customary with these Top 10s Day Wednesday videos, when we're doing a top 10 set, we do not take into account any reprints or any lands. Any of these top 10 series are just about original cards and not lands and not reprints. So let's get it started with number 10, Tamio, Field Researcher. For 1 in Bant colors, which is green, white, and blue, we have a Planeswalker that comes into play with 4 loyalty counters. We can +1 Tamio and choose up to 2 target creatures, and until our next turn, whenever either of those creatures deals combat damage, we draw a card. We can -2 Tamio to tap up to 2 target non-land permanents. They do not untap during their controller's next untap step. And if we're fortunate enough to build her loyalty up high enough to -7 Tamio, we can draw 3 cards and get an emblem with, we may cast non-land cards from our hand without paying their mana cost. So we pretty much get to draw 3 cards and then get an Omniscience emblem. Very powerful. When I went to my LGS's Eldritch Moon pre-release, I was fortunate enough to be gifted with a Tamio Field Researcher in my pre-release pack, and then took her in a Bant build and went 4-0. So Tamio Field Researcher, she's got a special place in my heart, and it warms it greatly to see that she makes this top 10 list. Tamio Field Researcher, number 10. Number 9, Docent of Perfection. 3 and 2 blue. It's a 5/4 flying insect horror, and whenever we cast an instant or sorcery spell, we create a 1/1 blue human wizard creature token. Then, if we control 3 or more wizards, we transform the Docent of Perfection. And in so doing, we transform it into Final Iteration, which is a 6/5 flying Eldrazi insect. And wizards we control get +2/+1 and have flying. And whenever we cast an instant or sorcery spell, again, we put a 1/1 blue human wizard creature token onto the battlefield. So Docent of Perfection is the number 9 card on this list. And this actually was, if we can get a little highlight on pre-release weekend, this was the card that was in the pre-release pack. July 16th to 17th, 2016. Docent of Perfection is number 9 on our list. Eldritch Moon top 10. Okay, number 8. We have Mind's Dilation. 5 double blue. This mythic rare is an enchantment, and it says whenever an opponent casts his or her first spell each turn, that player exiles a top card of their library. If it's a non-land card, we cast it without paying its mana cost. Mind's Dilation, I have a copy of this in a Golos Tireless Pilgrim EDH Commander build. And the story behind my acquisition of Mind's Dilation is actually pretty interesting. During the same pre-release that we're talking about right now, in the pre-release packages, everybody would get a foiled, double-sided zombie creature token, as a way in which to symbolize the Eldritch Moon battle when Liliana showed up to take down Emrico the Promised End. And every single pack had these double-sided foil zombie tokens. And somebody at the end of the pre-release was going around offering to trade for everyone's zombie tokens. me knowing that this was not going to be my only pre-release event of the weekend. I actually did 4 of them that weekend. I definitely made the trade. He traded me the Mind's Dilation for one of those zombie creature tokens. And I did check this recently within the last couple of weeks or so, and I think that zombie token is around like 49.50 cents, something like that, while the Mind's Dilation is, I think, close to a $10 card. I might be off a couple dollars here or there, or a few cents here or there, but still definitely made out on that exchange. So I was completely fine with doing that. All right, so moving forward, we have card number 7, and we're going to move to white now, and we're going to talk about Selfless Spirit. 1 and a white is a 2/1 Spirit Cleric with flying. We sacrifice Selfless Spirit, and creatures we control gain indestructible until end of turn. Okay, great in Spirit decks. Selfless Spirit is number 7. Number 6, rounding out our bottom 5, is Sigarda's Aid. It's an enchantment. It costs 1 white, and we may cast aura and equipment spells as though they had flash, and whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under our control, we may attach it to target creature we control. I have this card in a kitchen table deck. Actually, it was the very first kitchen table deck of that series, the turn 2 mono white, the turn 2 kill mono white deck. And I also have a copy of Sigarda's Aid in the Isamaru Hound of Khanda budget EDH build that the MTG Burgeoning community helped to construct. Sigarda's Aid is a great card, very powerful, very versatile, and I look forward to including it in other decks that are focusing on auras and equipment. Maybe like a Bruna deck, or maybe something a little spicier than that once Commander Legends hits. All right, so that's the bottom 5. So now we move into the top 5. And the 5th most played EDH commander card from Eldritch Moon is Emrico the Promised End. We got a 13/13 legendary Eldrazi that also has a 13 casting cost. It is flying, it is trample, it has protection from instants. It costs 1 less to cast for each card type among cards in our graveyard. So we can shrink her casting cost down considerably if we have the graveyard filled with all different kinds of card types. And when we cast Emrico, we gain control of target opponent during that player's next turn. After that turn, that player takes an extra turn. So if we control that player during their next turn, we can do everything in our power to make sure that all resources are gone, make sure we cast spells, maybe not search for lands if we cast it. Whenever there's a spell that says you may, we choose not to. If you've had the good fortune of casting the Promised End, you know what you can do with it. And if you've been unfortunate enough to have the Promised End target you upon cast, well, you know how bad that could be. So Emrico the Promised End is number 5. Number 4, Thalia, Heretic Cather. For 2 and a white, we have a 3/2 legendary human soldier with first strike. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. I do remember on that pre-release weekend of which I spoke earlier with respect to Tameo Field Researcher, Thalia, Heretic Cather was also in that deck. So she made it a great defensive play by having the creatures of my opponents and their non-basic lands come into play tapped. Thalia, Heretic Cather is A-OK. All right, so we're moving into our top 3. Number 3, Imprisoned in the Moon. 2 and a blue. This is an aura that can enchant a creature, a land, or a planeswalker. An enchanted permanent becomes a colorless land with tap, add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, and loses all other card types and abilities. So this pretty much takes that creature, that land, or that planeswalker and turns it into a colorless land with nothing. That's just absolutely nothing. Imprisoned in the Moon is number 3 on this list. So we're down to our top 2. Number 2, Eldritch Evolution. For 1 and double green, this rare sorcery says as an additional cost to cast Eldritch Evolution, sacrifice a creature. We search our library for a creature card with a converted mana cost X or less, where X is 2 plus the sacrifice creature's converted mana cost, and we put that card onto the battlefield, and then we exile Eldritch Evolution. And that is card number 2. It has all kinds of birthing pod synergies and capabilities that can be realized with that card. And there's our first 9, and we're down to number 1. So what is the number 1 EDH commander card from Eldritch Moon? Splendid Reclamation. 3 and a green. It's a sorcery, and we return all land cards from our graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is a fantastic card for a landfall build. Fantastic card for any kind of lands matters builds. Or lands matter builds. Splendid Reclamation is not surprising that it's the number 1 out of this top 10. All right, folks, there we have it. The top 10 EDH commander cards from Eldritch Moon. Which cards did not make the list that you're surprised about? I'd love to hear in the comment section below, because I do really like Eldritch Moon. It was the follow-up to Shadows over Innistrad. It was not opened a great deal. I remember having a blast during the pre-release weekend. Eldritch Moon is just great. Let me know in the comment section below, folks. This is MTG Burgeoning. You will go forth and enjoy your day.